Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to Draft Day Sports College Basketball. This is episode 44. National Championship game is down to Gonzaga versus West Virginia. 2 1 seeds remaining this one. George Mason with the impressive performance to get as a 10 seed all the way to the Final Four, replicating what we did a year ago as, an 11 seed, I want to say? West Virginia with the title by a single point, 64-63, with the defensive struggle in this one. Gonzaga, who scored 94 in the prior game, going all the way. West Virginia showing strong defense with 57 in their final four and then 63 in the final to claim the championship. Strong defense continuing to be the pillar of our program. Barry Houston was this year's latest Defensive Player of the Year for the league. Houston also making the second team All-Conference as a guard, and Ed Hold making first team All-Conference at center. So that does suggest that we are going to miss Ed Hold quite a bit. But outside of his absence next year, I do think we are going to be very strong indeed. Hopefully we don't have anybody transferring out, at least. But I think we've got a ton of potential for what is to come next season. South Carolina, one of the top teams in the nation, stole a coach from us, Zach Ginn. So we do have now a spot to fill where I had my staff fully intact for the coming season. That's now leaving me with some work to do. The funny thing, though, it was our irrelevant coach. It was the weakest one on staff who was down to the final year on his contract anyway. But with finances being a real issue, can I find somebody as affordable to handle the scouting? The good news, we're saving $6,000 in staff salaries this year, meaning we'll have a little bit more left for recruiting compared to previous. The bad news is, in order to save that money, we've literally got a new guy to coaching. He is minimum. He is 20s across the board in everything. It's kind of like back to year one. But he's just the scout, and scouting is a very finicky thing that doesn't go well anyway. Even when you seem to have good scouting, it's all over the place. And plus 10 points costing us an extra 7,000 is something we just couldn't afford anyway. So we get a first-year guy making almost league minimum, 18,000 for the coming 2 seasons, and then hopefully by then we'll have raised our salary cap for the year a bit so we can afford something a little bit better. Okay, well, for the second year in a row, we've got a request from the board approved. We've gone from 133K budget to now 143K, so there's an additional 10,000 plus the 6 in savings. We're going to have 16,000 more next season than we had in the previous season, which we had very little money to play with this last year. We'll be back into the okay territory with that one. And, in a couple of years, we can turn around and hopefully have seen another rise by that point. Maybe. Maybe. But better staff is obviously hugely important. But we've still got to be able to go out and recruit players. 0 players entering the transfer portal is already a success, with 1 replacement player coming in, junior college transfer. We should be already about as good as we were. But with multiple scholarships available, let's see what we can find in the transfer portal to simply just get stronger. First week in the transfer portal, and there's a very large number of players that I am scouting. There's only 1 offer that I've handed out so far, though. It is a senior, redshirt senior at that, walk-on player, but we're talking about somebody who plays for Michigan State and is a really talented player in terms of the profile. He's a good guy. He was ranked quite high. So we're looking at a pretty talented player, even if he doesn't quite match up to what his rating is and at center. And hopefully if we can go early, and especially with a scholarship offer, he might actually, be happy to join us. The A down here makes me nervous because it's Navy. and he really didn't put up big numbers or anything for Navy, so I doubt the scouting on that one quite a bit. Okay, so big reevaluation. There was a second player, including Dowling, that I went after. Dowling, by the way, we've moved up to the top of his list, so we will continue to offer scholarship. I think there's a good chance of getting him. I have 0 centers on the squad right now for next season. The other instant offer, there was only 2, is Will Drew, and we have moved to the top of his list with Oregon, Stanford, and Houston just behind us. This would be a huge grab. Now, Louisiana State, not a massive program. However, 27 minutes a game, 15 points per game, 10.5 rebounds per game. I don't care what level you play at, which, by the way, we play at one of the lowest levels. Those are huge numbers. Huge. You don't do that accidentally. So, we're looking at somebody who plays defense, who rebounds much higher than anybody I've seen. I haven't had anyone above 30s. And 4-star. Sounds great. Sophomore. Happy to. And he spends half of his time posting up instead of taking mid-range. And he's going to drive. He wants to get even closer to the hoop than just pull up. That's going to lead to a good amount of scoring. 26 isn't the highest. That's, I think, the only reason why he's down at 15. But he's an effective scorer. And it's how he handles the ball. And he draws fouls. Oh my goodness. Okay-ish as a free throw shooter. But he's 7'1", 298 pounds. Total beast is this Will Drew. So following the second session for the transfer portal, this time I focused heavily not only on the numbers, but what program the players were coming out of, and I might have actually punched a little too far above our weight this time. The 2 guys that we were close on signed somewhere else. Presumably, in one case you had Oregon right beneath us. If Oregon's offering and we're offering, who are you going to sign for? Seems like an obvious choice in most circumstances. But we have a player out of Gonzaga. We will likely go after each of these 4, I would imagine, at this point. Player from Washington, Texas A&M, and Duke, all with a bit of quality. None of them kind of key players. They were all backup kind of guys, but at big-time programs, which for us would be a definite step up. And for a lot of these guys, I would imagine we're probably a walk-on sort of backups. All power forwards, though. We're not going to get all 4 of them, but we'll figure it out with the center position. But there are a bunch of centers right here below that above this that I'm going to be taking a look at as well, and see if there's not somebody from there that is worth signing. After some previous failures, we have some guys finally. Johnny Purvis, Rick Alexander, and Doug Hyde. But these aren't exactly the top targets that we had. So I'm not sure how much stronger we're actually getting in the transfer portal at the moment. So 3 guys we've brought in. Doug Hyde right now we see as a 3-star talent. Purvis, 4-star talent. Solid power forward, just a sophomore, which again adds to that depth that we have there. And Alexander at center. That does give me 4 capable post players. So we at least would have something depth chart wise there. Hyde alongside Alex Rice or maybe Howell, depending on how preseason goes, would give us something at small forward. We do have Barry Houston and Eric Reed at guards. So, there are some options, but we still are going to be looking for more. That filled just 3 slots. We have 2 remaining. I definitely would like to get a guard for one of those. And even though we have quite a few small forwards, maybe another small forward or another center. In the next round, I've added Ross Briggery, somebody to match with Houston, so we at least have a bit more talent there. And it did give us that 1 more guard. So I have 1 scholarship remaining. Where, how to use it? Well, I think it could be almost anything at this point. Obviously, we're a little thin at center. But other than that, if anybody strikes my fancy, we'll take them. Otherwise, we may leave that scholarship open this season. In terms of grade level, we have a walk-on senior and Eric Reed. So we will only have one coming next year, which means it's going to be a lot easier to focus on things going forward, but we don't have a ton of vacancies. Unable to find any other standout talents, I looked then to see if I could find maybe a senior, somebody who could be a role player off the bench, give us some minutes, give us some more depth in a place we might need it, and then be gone so that we could immediately replace them with somebody better next year. And I still couldn't even find any good role player options for seniors. So I just went ahead and left that spot vacant so that we would have 2 spots to fill this year instead of just 1. That gives me a lot more options. And as a result, it's been a little bit of time now. It's late June. We've had a little more time to evaluate the guys. Here's how it stands right now. Eric Reed, top point guard, 3.5 stars. Barry Houston, 3 stars. Williamson, the redshirt freshman, now coming in at 2 stars. And Ross Briggery, we like him less so than we did before, especially his defense, less than we did before. He's coming in at just 1.5 stars. So bit of a disappointment there. Jesse Howell, likewise, top recruit, junior college transfer, was supposed to be at the top of his game, and he's coming in as a 1-star player, apparently. I'm hoping once we get a better look at him, that will be different. But Doug Hyde is looking fairly decent, 3-star kind of guy. Marcus Cooper, who was a key player for us a year ago, 1.5-star evaluation now. But Lindquist looks good at 3.5. Purvis and Alexander both coming in at 2 stars. I don't know. The current evaluation looks pretty poor, but most of these are the same guys. So I'm hoping this is more of just a harsh look at the squad, that once we get them into practice, we'll find a lot of these guys fit the bill for what we're looking for much better than they do currently. In terms of natural scorers, Barry Houston, best on the team. Eric Reed, Lindquist, Williamson, Hyde, Howell, Purvis, Alexander, and Briggery, semi-capable, but nobody great. Inside shooters, Alexander has a great inside shot. Cooper, pretty good, otherwise not so good. Outside jumpers, Antoine Witt, walk-on junior. I would imagine this is very much not his ratings. I mean, these are very, very generic ratings. But Williamson, redshirt freshman, he's been with us for a year, so he definitely has a good outside shot. So does Eric Reed, Morris Smith, Barry Houston. Passing, Eric Reed, clear advantage. Handling, Barry Houston. And Kelly McMillan, if he can, actually it is McMillan. If he can get his passing down, he would be a pretty good ball handler. I'm excited for his potential to step up in place of Reed and not just have to grab somebody through the transfer portal on that one. It looks like he's a pretty capable guy. Mid-30s for offensive rebounding, Lindquist. Hyde, small forward with that kind of offensive rebounding. And this kind of defensive rebounding is really good. But again, no big standouts. There were some guys that I saw, some targets that were pretty dang good that just beyond our reach this year. Defense, Barry Houston, excellent. That's going to keep him on the court a lot. Same with Eric Reed. Great combo with 2 guards that are that good at defense. Doug Hyde, I think that's going to definitely give him the starter's role if he's that good at defense. Williamson, good option off the bench there. Redshirt freshman too. So Lindquist okay, Howell's okay, McMillan on down through maybe Alex Rice. These bottom 5 guys, I don't want to play them much if they are that bad on defense. All right, folks, well, that's how the roster's shaking up. I was so excited entering that transfer portal, seeing that we were 1 piece away, that we had 4 quality players already. And I was excited about Howell coming in, thinking he alone could be that 5th place and that through the transfer portal we could easily find 1 or 2 more. Well, we did find one. We did find one in Doug Hyde. And we got Purvis. No, really just Doug Hyde apparently. So, but we've seen our numbers fluctuate wildly repeatedly as time goes on and see these guys be totally different than they are because our scouting is just so bad. So bad. Our new team scout's only a 20, and mine's been stuck on 2, only leveling up a single time throughout the entire series. So maybe it's time to give that at least a little bit of boost. Maybe we add 1 point per year kind of thing. Go back and count how many years into the series we are, and then kind of set us to there. Or something. I mean, that would still take 100 years to get that up. We're not playing 100 years. Maybe 2 per year would be a little more realistic. I could see us maybe getting in 40 or 50 years, and that would bring us up quite a bit. Anyway, that's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.